If you're like me and most coaches out there, chances are one of the reasons why you got into your online coaching business was to impact the lives of many people. But let's be real, deep down, one of the main drivers behind why you started this business was because you wanted to build a real business, one that actually supports your financial goals going forward, and one that allows you to live freely and do the things that you love doing and make very good money doing it. So to help with that, in this video up ahead, I'm gonna be sharing with you the 4 biggest blocks that I see holding many people back from ever breaking past the 10K a month barrier in their online business. So if you're new to the channel, welcome in. If you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Fontana, and for those that don't know me, I've been able to take my online business from 0 to over 600K in the last few years, and throughout that time, consistently generate multiple 6 figures each of the last 3 years itself. Now, in that process, I've been also able to impact the lives of over 100 clients and helping them achieve 5-figure months in their online business, along with some getting to 6 figures in less than 12 months time and beyond. And along the way, I know that there's a ton of mistakes that I made in getting to this point in my online business, a lot of which kept me stuck, spinning my wheels and never seeing my online business goals come to life. Which is a big reason why I created this channel to begin with. It was to arm you with those mistakes that I made so you don't have to make those as well, and you can shortcut your journey to building the business and life that you're working for. So without further ado, let's get into today's video on the 4 biggest blocks that I see holding people back from ever achieving 10K months in their online business. Roadblock number 1, information overload. I dealt with this heavily in my journey, especially early on before I saw any success online. I was jumping from one opportunity to the next. I was consuming a bunch of information at the time. It was a bunch of free information. And as a result, I was kind of jumping around from one new free thing that I was learning to the next, watching YouTube videos, consuming guides, consuming other content, trying all these different things and jumping from tactic to tactic to tactic, and even jumping from multiple platforms at a time to Facebook ads, to organic, back to another paid platform. And as a result, I was doing circles and I was on a hamster wheel and I was never seeing any success come from that. And it wasn't until I actually shifted my focus and committed to one strategy over a period of at least 3 to 6 months of putting pure focus and action towards that thing that I actually started to see some shifts come to life and my business start to actually take off. Now, the other problem with this is I've experienced this at another level as I even started to grow my online business, where as I started to bring more money in after making one of my initial investments and learning how to get the ball rolling in my online business, I made more profit. I reinvested that profit into other coaching and other trainings, and I went on to invest into multiple different coaching and training programs that year. And if there's one thing I wish I would have changed looking back at that time, it would have been to focus on one program at a time. I in turn joined multiple programs, and I was learning a lot of great information that I'd never known before from these programs, and it was really helping prime me for the success that I wanted to create. But ultimately, each mentor had its own little caveat and difference. And the problem that I run into, and the problem that I see many coaches and online entrepreneurs right now run into in their own online business, is they're going and investing in multiple different coaches, multiple different mentors, multiple different courses, and they're trying to take tidbits of pieces of strategy and tactics that they like from these programs and kind of combine them together in their own little mosh pit of what they feel is the best. But in all reality, it's kind of just randomly throwing ingredients into a recipe and hoping it turns out okay. In the end, the recipe is likely going to flop and it's not going to taste good. So same with an online business. If we continue just to take random bits and pieces of what we like and what we want to do from the program or what we feel is good and we combine it with a bunch of other random things, it's very hard for us to actually move the needle in our business and our growth. And as a result, what typically ends up happening is we end up having a list of 50 to 100 things to do. We have a daily action plan of 15 to 20 steps to follow, and it becomes really overwhelming. And the more that we overwhelm our plan to act and grow our business, the harder it is for us to show up and actually take action in our business. And knowing that action is the key to getting to where we want to go, and the right action is the key to getting to where we want to go efficiently, if we add too much to that list of action and we go to sit down to execute, not only are we going to be all over the map and overloaded and overwhelmed with information, but it's going to be very hard for us to make strides in our growth because we're doing a bunch of random things to get there. And what I like to call these random things is random acts of marketing. This is one of the biggest reasons why folks never see 10K months come to life, let alone consistent 10K months come to life in their business, because they're randomly marketing their offer, not strategically. They don't have a plan as to how they want to put out content to help sell that thing. They're going out, putting up random content, taking random actions they've compiled together from all the different programs they've learned from, and they're in turn seeing random results. The best thing that we can do is be intentional about the actions that we're taking. Try to narrow our list of key actions down in our business to 3 to 5 key steps that we can follow each and every day that primarily are really associated around revenue generating activities. If we're below 10K a month and we don't have many clients to serve and deliver to, what our real focus should be on is mastering marketing and sales and mastering the revenue generating activities that drive our business and our growth going forward. So if you're feeling overloaded with information now and you're feeling you're pulling together a bunch of different tactics and strategies from a variety of mentors into your own little mix of what you feel is the best plan to follow, take a step back, zoom out, look at the list of actions that you have in front of you and try to narrow that list down to 3 key actions that you can stay consistent with each and every day. And ask yourself if those 3 actions that you narrow the list to are built around generating revenue in your business, such as content, conversations, putting out offers. These are all actions that directly tie to activities that drive revenue and our growth in our business. Roadblock number 2, the mystery of making sales. When a lot of clients get started working with us, a lot of times in the early stages, they don't really know what it takes to make sales, let alone make consistent sales itself. And really what this all comes back to is a lot of what we talked on in point number 1, which is overcomplicating and overwhelming ourselves with the process to bringing sales to life. And as a result, it can make it very easy for us to try to step in and do these things that lead to sales in our business. But then we get rejected in a sales conversation, or if something doesn't go our way, we get disappointed and we don't feel accepted. We're not happy with how things are going and we get more frustrated. And the more frustrated that we are showing up into our conversations and sales process, or the more that we're really hunting to make sales and trying to figure out, man, what's the way to make this happen? The more that we're going to repel our chances of ever making sales come to life. The key is to ultimately try to disconnect from the outcome itself of that person saying yes or no, and remind yourself that there's only one thing that you can control to make more sales in your business: make more offers. When we're not making the sales that we want in a month in our business, if we aren't aware of how many offers we're putting out, we very well could have only put out 1 to 2 or maybe even no offers that month. At the end of the day, the only way to make more sales is to make more offers. To break this down one level further, let's say you're working to get to this goal of 10K a month in your online business and you're selling an offer that's priced at 2K. Now, in order to hit 10K with a 2K offer, we know right away that we only need to make 5 sales in a month to bring that 10K a month goal to life. Now, typically, to make 5 sales a month happen, if you're in the earlier stages, this is going to take anywhere from 10 to 20 offers to put yourself in a position to make that 10K a month goal happen. And I'm willing to bet that more than likely, many of you here watching now that are below 10K a month in your online business, you're probably making more like 2 to 3 to 5 offers a month in your business. And you may be wondering, why am I not at this level yet? But now after watching this video, hopefully you can see the power behind intentionally making more offers, knowing that this is what is the mystery behind making sales. If you simply go out and focus on imperfectly presenting another 5 to 10 offers this next month, you very well could tip yourself over the scale and get to that 10K a month in as quickly as 30 days from watching this video. Offers is the only chance that we're giving ourselves to extend that invitation and give us the opportunity to create the conversion. So the key to making more sales is to present offers. Roadblock number 3, missing KPIs or key performance indicators to drive decisions. What happens when we're missing KPIs or key performance indicators to drive decisions is we end up guessing on what we feel is best for us to pivot, change, or adjust our business to achieve the results that we want. Now, before we get into this further, for those of you here watching that don't know what a KPI is, KPI particularly stands for key performance indicators. Key meaning important, performance meaning basically assessing how it's performing, and indicators meaning it's measurable. It's a measurable stat that we can look at and see the health of our business, how it's performing, and ultimately what we can adjust to improve performance in our business as a whole. Without these, this is one of the biggest reasons why folks never break past 5K months and consistently get to 10K months, because they're completely unaware of what this is, how to track their own KPIs, and how to use their KPIs to make data-driven decisions in their online business. I've said this before, and this highly relates to what we're talking about here today, and that is the quote, which is, you can guess your way to 5K months, but you cannot guess your way to consistent 10K months. This all comes back to exactly what we're talking on here in point number 3 and roadblock number 3, which is, if you're missing KPIs in your business and you're not using these to make data-driven decisions on how to adjust your business, you're in turn guessing, and you're in turn going to achieve the results that come from guessing itself. But if we can start making decisions that are actually built upon real numbers and making decisions that are built upon data that we know at the end of the day, this is exactly what we need to adjust to improve the performance in our sales process, we know that if we do that, we will improve performance. We're not guessing. We're not hoping that it will happen. We know that if we adjust these things, it will happen. And that's the power behind using KPIs in our business. So an example of what KPIs are, let's say you're currently using Facebook Organic to grow your online business and you're putting out content, you're having conversation with folks, And you're in those conversations ultimately working to invite folks to get on a call with you where you can chat with them, see if they're a fit for your offer, and extend that invitation to them on the call. Whether you're closing sales over the phone or closing sales in Messenger, the point is when we think about these steps here, we know that it goes from conversation to us offering a call, to us then booking a call, to us then presenting an offer, to us then closing a sale. And if we can start to understand the numbers between those steps, we can identify blocks along the way, and we can easily see, for example, that, hey, maybe we're closing at a high rate in the phone, but we're just not getting enough people on the call itself. So what we really need to focus on is the block between what's stopping folks from accepting our call offer invitations and actually hopping on the phone with us. That could be the way that we are positioning the call in Messenger, how we're inviting folks to call. But the point is, when we use our data to assess this and see this, we can now drill down on this one block in our conversion process and get to the bottom of what it is that's not causing us to create the outputs or the outcomes that we want. So these are all leading indicators. Booking calls, having conversations, putting out content. These are all leading indicators that lead towards the lagging indicators that we're trying to achieve in our business. Sales is a lagging indicator. If you recall on the previous point, roadblock number 2, I mentioned the fact that if we focus on sales and we're always hunting to try to get the next sale and always focused on that one thing, we're probably going to repel it and create the opposite. This is because we're focused on the lagging indicators. Sales come from the actions that we take on these leading areas in our business. So if we can drill our focus away from the sales and the outcomes and focus more on the leading indicators that lead to those sales opportunities and those outcomes, it's much easier for us to predictably and consistently hit our income goals and actually have control over the amount of money that we're bringing into our business on a month-to-month basis. In the end, if you're not using KPIs in your business right now to make data-driven decisions, again, you are guessing, and as a result of guessing, you are not going to be able to predict the future or create predictable outcomes within your income in your online business. This is exactly what we dive super deep on in our book, The Profit Prediction Formula. That will be linked in the description below. But from here, let's move on to roadblock number 4. The fourth and final roadblock that I've seen not only in my own experience and my own growth in my online business, but through many of the clients that I've worked with and folks that I've chatted with is discipline and consistency. The key to achieving what we want in our business and our life, whether we're tracking KPIs or not tracking KPIs, whether we're putting out more offers or not putting out more offers, all these things we can take away. But if we're not showing up, there's no chance at all that we can make any sales or any growth in our business. And this is by far one of the biggest drivers behind why I never saw the growth that I wanted to early on in my business, because I wasn't disciplined and consistent in the areas that I needed to be. And I was wandering and acting randomly. I was showing up, and at times I was consistently showing up, but I wasn't applying pressure consistently to the areas that I needed to. Oftentimes, even when those of you here watching, you may have a strategy in front of you that is working, but you're not showing up and using it and putting in the action that you need at the levels that you want to create those outcomes that you want. On the flip side, some of you may be in the bucket where you're overloaded with information. You're unsure on what steps to take. And as I mentioned in point number 1, that quickly results in us feeling so overwhelmed that we don't even want to show up, that we don't even want to take action. At the core, it always comes back to discipline and consistency. If we are disciplined in our business and we're consistently showing up on the right activities, we will guaranteed achieve the results we want at some point or another in the future. And the more that we're using the steps that I mentioned here previous to this 4th step, KPIs, putting out more offers, and being deliberate with those actions, the quicker that we can get to where we want to go with our online business itself. But again, it all comes back to this one piece of discipline and consistency. And here's the thing, I get it. We're all busy. We all have different lives that we're all living with, the different activities within those lives that we have responsibilities that we have to follow through with. We have other things that we have to do outside of our business itself. And the more things that we have to do, the harder it is for us to actually show up and do those things, whether it's tending to our kids. Maybe if some of you here watching are still working in a 9-to-5 job while trying to grow your online business. There's a lot of different variables that come into play that pull our focus and pull us away from actually showing up consistently in our business itself. Either way, if you're not achieving the results that you want in your online business and you don't feel like you're progressing towards the end goal of where you want to go with that business itself, you need to change. You must change. And this may be offensive to some. This may feel like, you know what, Blake's calling me out here, telling me I need to show up, be more consistent. But the reality is, if you don't, your goals and your dreams of building a successful and consistent and predictable 6-figure online business will never, ever come to life. It all starts with you and how you're showing up. Even for me as a coach and a mentor, I know that I can give my students the best training and the most clear and simplified roadmap to building a successful 6-figure online business. But if they're not willing to show up and execute and be disciplined and consistent in the actions towards that, there's no way that I can do anything to change the outcomes in their business and get them to where they want to go. It comes back to them being willing to implement, being willing to ask questions, being willing to be disciplined and consistent along the way, knowing that not every day is going to feel like $1 million. We're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days, but we're doing this to ultimately achieve the long-term goal that we want to bring to life. And a lot of the reasons why we end up struggling with being consistent in our business is because we're so focused on the short term. We want wins to happen quick. We want sales to happen quick. And when we don't see those sales happen, it discourages us from showing up and doing those things over and over again. But if we can align our mindset towards the long term and what we're building towards in the future, and realize that each and every step that we take each and every day is all a stepping stone in the process to bringing that to life, it's much easier for us to show up and actually embrace that process and be consistent with it. Not to mention all of the other points that I mentioned leading up until this fourth and final point here today, it all comes back to aligning those things to help us be more disciplined and to help us be more consistent. If we are overwhelmed with a bunch of different tactics, a bunch of different strategies, a bunch of different mentors, and a bunch of different plans to take to bring our business to life, it's going to be very hard for us to be consistent. If we don't feel like we know what we need to adjust in our business to achieve the results that we want, it's going to be hard for us to be consistent. And I know that for me, when I dealt with all of these things I'm talking on here in this video today and sharing from experience, this was all core drivers behind why I was struggling to be disciplined and consistent as well. And it wasn't until I simplified my focus into my business and laid out a simple daily plan of attack that was easier for me to execute on, that didn't cause me to feel like every action that I was doing was a heavy lift and a hard thing to do. And it made it more effortless for me to take action and to show up consistently. And I know that the more I can simplify my focus and my plan of attack in a way that takes that resistance away, it makes it easier for me to show up, it's only going to result in me being more consistent with my actions going forward. Discipline is a short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain, is the foundation behind building the business that we want, especially when it comes to building a business that's built on our personal brand, where we're getting started early on our own, and it's up to us to get that business off the ground and to build that business going forward. So to make that happen, we have to be disciplined, we have to be consistent. And the easiest way to start being more disciplined and consistent is to simplify our focus. Focus on setting the proper intention going into those actions, meaning if we're going to have conversations, if we're going to write a new post, we may not be feeling up to it right before we go do that thing. And then as a result, we may be telling ourselves, you know what, let's go do something else, or let's go do this thing. But if we committed at the start of the day and said, you know what, I'm committed to doing these 2 things or these 3 things, the more that you follow through and do those 2 to 3 things, again, the more that you are injecting true belief and confidence in yourself and proving to yourself that no matter what obstacles are going around in your life, no matter how busy you are or how many hours you have to dedicate to something else, you are finding time to build what is important to you. And you're proving to yourself that you're willing to go out of your way to show up even at days where you don't feel like doing it or it doesn't feel good to do it itself. And this is where, as time passes, things really start to click. We feel more belief and confidence internally by us showing up and following through what we set out for ourselves. And we start to see those actions compound and come to life externally by seeing the results that come from it and what came from all those actions and all those days of showing up and being disciplined and consistent itself. So there's one thing that you can do to help improve this area. Again, simplify the focus with your daily actions and really try to peel back on what it is that you are committing to in your business for working hours, or at least days that you're willing to put in actions in your business itself. If you're in a 9 to 5 now and you work Monday through Friday, perhaps you're committing to at least consistently showing up for 2 hours a day for 5 days a week. Making stamps of commitment like this will help you make it more aligned in terms of expectations coming into this work. This way you're not feeling like, you know what, I have to do all these things. And instead, we're realistically telling ourselves, you know what, I'm not here to do everything today. I'm here to do 2 things today. And if I do these 2 things today, I won the day. I followed through with being disciplined, and I followed through with showing up consistently with what I needed to do itself. So with those points aside, that's a wrap for this video on the 4 blocks that stop you from ever achieving 10K months in your online coaching business. I know these are the 4 things that stopped me from ever getting to this point in my online business. And I see this stopping many other folks like myself in a similar position that I was early on, spinning their wheels, doing circles, and never achieving the goals they want because of what we talked on in these 4 pieces here today. So hopefully this is helpful for those of you here watching. If you did get value from this one, be sure to smash the thumbs up button and drop a comment below with any thoughts or questions that you had on the content that I shared here today. And for those of you that want to work with me and my team directly to have a crystal clear daily action plan to follow, knowing exactly what activities that you need to show up on consistently, along with a simple sheet to follow and track your daily actions and a plan to get you on the fast track to creating predictable 10K months and 6-figure years, we are about to open doors for the first time on our new book, The Profit Prediction Formula. I cannot wait to get this out. We've been working hard on this for the last few months, and we're now officially here. We're opening up doors to a small handful of 15 people to plug into this book early, to get access to 3 live calls with me and my team directly, and a bunch of other resources and bonuses to pair with it, to ultimately work with you hands-on in applying what you learned in this book and getting on the fast track to creating predictable 6-figure years in your online business. So if you resonated with what I shared here today with any of these 4 roadblocks mentioned in the video, or if you'd like to find out more about this new opportunity to plug into our new book, The Profit Prediction Formula, along with access to me and my team directly on live calls to help you implement it to success, I encourage you to click the link in the description below, drop us a message, and we'll send you the details first as soon as we open doors to give you the first chance to secure one of the 15 spots that we're opening up on this opportunity. And lastly, as always, for those of you here watching through the end, if you have not yet already, be sure to show some love, hit that subscribe button so you're not missing out on any future content that we drop here on the channel, as I do release new videos here each and every week. And number 2, if you have not yet already, be sure to join our private free Facebook community, Unleash CEOs, for more insider training, live training, and exclusive content to help you grow and scale your online business. With that said, that's a wrap for this one. Appreciate the support, and I appreciate you guys watching, and I look forward to seeing you back on the next video very soon. Peace.